So now we will enter into the next book. Last weekend we are speaking about this field, and we spoke about the properties of. We spoke about the properties of field when it comes to the smell, the color, the taste, and I mentioned, or the author mentioned about the difference between field that is ainiyah and hukmiyah. So just we do a quick revision before we continue. Ainiyah is a type of field that you can use your senses to detect. And if, for example, you can see it, you can see the color of the najis. For example, urine, you can see the yellowish stains, for example, and the smell, and also the taste. So these are the three properties, and based on the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, the color, the taste, and also the smell. So if any of these properties are present in a field, then it is compulsory for us to remove all the three properties. Yani we have to wash, meaning the clothes, for example, and we have to make sure that the color, the smell, and the taste disappears. This is how we ascertain that the clothes are pure again. So the moment the properties disappeared, for example, so just imagine if I have this towel for example, and then there is a bit of urine here. So what I do, for example, I open up the tap and I put it under the flowing water and I rub it. So now to such an extent where you cannot see the color anymore, you cannot no smell, no taste, then we say that this towel is pure. So this is pertaining to field that is based on ainiyah, a substance, based on a substance. There is another type of field that is called hukmiyah, and hukmiyah is the opposite of ainiyah. Yani no smell, no taste, no smell, no taste, and no color. No smell, no taste, and no color. So last week I gave an example. You enter into the toilet and there is najis on the floor, but no smell, no taste, no color. But there is najis. So it is enough that we pour water on it. Yani that we pour water on it. So that is enough for us to remove filth that is based on hukmiyah. So this is basically what we mentioned in our last lesson. So today's lesson, we just left a bit more before we enter into the chapter of tayammum. The last thing that the author speaks about is what we call as al-rusala. In Arabic we call it al-rusala. So we have to pay attention a bit. This requires some attention. Some attention. Because we need to understand these things. Otherwise, we might be confused. Basically, the author mentioned that when it comes to hukmiyah, and before this, the condition is that we have to pour water, because by pouring water that comes from the top, it has energy, and this energy is a thing that can remove the filth based on hukmiyah. So this is what he said. Wa yushtaratu wurudul ma'il qalil. It is a precondition to have a little flow of water. This is pertaining to hukmiyah. And then he mentioned, this is what I underlined in red. So if you can see here, we are entering into this particular chapter, the chapter of tayammum. So this is the last line, but this requires some explanation. And in Muqaddimah Hadramiyyah is only one sentence, and you can imagine, only one sentence, and the author speaks about what we have in fiqh. They call it al-rusala. Al-rusala. If you go back, if you read books like Reliance of the Traveler, at least Ibn Naqib al-Basri, and he speaks a few sentences about this rusala. But here in Muqaddimah Hadramiyyah, mashallah, you see the author make it so concise. And what did he say? He say al-rusalatul qalilatu tahiratun. Al-rusalatul qalilatu tahiratun. Yani water that is based on rusala, even though it is a little here, meaning any less than qulla. Even though it is little, it is pure. Tahiratun ma lam yataghayyar wa qad tahural mahal. as long as the water yani that comes out after it does not possess any of the three properties, then yani we say that the place where the water hits becomes yani pure, and the water that comes out from it will also yani be pure but cannot purify. This is, it takes yani the ruling yani of musta'mal, tahirun fi nafsihi ghayru mutahirin li ghayrihi. So it is water that is pure but cannot purify. This is any the water of Rusala. So let me show you this example. What is any this meaning any of Rusala? Yani if you read this any you won't understand. So let me any give you any this example. So I will use any the towel again. I will use any this towel. So imagine there is urine. I just give an example, fill any urine, easy. Yeah, there is urine, a bit any of urine at the tip any of this towel. So I want to wash any this towel. Tamam? So there is any some trace any of urine any on top. So what do? Point number one, when comes any to this rusala, the thing any about rusala, the water yani has to flow on top down. We are not speaking any about yani throwing this towel into a bucket any water. What happens any if you have a pail any water and there is some traces of filth on this small towel, for example, and you throw it into the pail of water, what happens into the pail of water? It becomes any mutanajjis. This is not ghusala. It's not ghusala. So condition any number one, the water must flow from on top down. So nowadays any we speak any about, for example, the tap water. So now I open any the tap water. So the tap any is on top, correct or not? Yani the tap any is on top. So now I put yani this towel yani with the najis at the tip any of this towel below, and then I open up any the tap. The water now goes out and hit at the tip any of this towel. So after some time I rub it, and for example after some time what happens? There is no more traces any of urine, correct or not? No more traces. This is what any the author meant any by qad tahura al-mahal. Qad tahura al-mahal meaning this part and it becomes tahir. You don't see any traces any of filth. Now the water any that you collect. Now this is ghusala. The water that you collect. So now I'm using any this tap water, for example, to wash any this towel, and I'm recollecting any the tap water. So now any we ask any the question, what is the ruling any of the water that is collected any from this action? Because now I'm using any this tap water any to wash part any of the towel that is afflicted any by filth. So now when the part any becomes clean again, so now what is any the ruling any of the water that is in that water that is collected now? Is it najis? It is mutanajis, or it is a pure water, or it is used water? Yani either it is mutanajis or musta'mal any, or the other one is mutlaq. So the answer is, as what any the author any mentioned, al-ghusalatul qalilatu. So pay attention to the word qalila. Here we are not speaking any about water that is a lot, because water that is a lot, no issue. If there is najis and it is still pure, because it doesn't change as long as it doesn't change the properties. So al-ghusala here is water any that is a little, water that is less than tuqulla. Tahiratun, it is pure, but it is not mutahhira. It is tahira and not mutahhira. So there is any a difference any between tahir and mutahhir. Tahir any is pure but cannot purify, whereas mutahhir any is pure and can purify. So this is any the difference any between water that is tahir and water that is mutahhir. Just like any musta'mal, for example, used water, we call it, it is pure, but it cannot purify. Correct or not? Just like coffee, for example, coffee and it takes any guling any musta'mal. Coffee takes a guling of musta'mal. It is tahira and not mutahira. So likewise, al-ghusala, now any the author is saying, even though any water any is used to cleanse away the filth, but it is still pure. So it is not any mutanajis. By right, any it is mutanajis, correct or not? By right, and because why? Because now we are speaking about najis here. We are not speaking about coffee. We are speaking about urine. We are speaking any about urine. So now any you open up any the tap and the water any touches it, and then any you recollect any the water. So the water is carries any the ruling any musta'mal, any pure. It is not mutanajis. Even though any we are speaking any about najis. So this is the phenomenon, ya jama'ah. This is any the phenomenon. So here it is an exceptional case. Al-Ghusala is an exceptional case. So Ghusala is the water that is collected. It is pure. People will ask, for example, why is it pure? Why is it pure and not mutanajis? Why is it not considered to be filthy water, when the fact that you are cleansing the towel from the urine, and urine is a filth? Why is it still pure? Why it is not considered to be mutanajis? This is the question. The answer to this is this. These are the words of our fuqaha. They mention that water that flows from top to down possesses energy. Possesses energy that can convert something that is a filth to purity. It can convert a filth to purity. This is the power of water. This is the power in water. If you look for example, the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet mentioned, إذا بلغ الماء قلتين لم يحمل الخبث. When water reaches to qullah, it does not carry in it filth. This is a miracle. This is a miracle of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Nowadays, scientists they found out that huge volumes of water possesses, the larger the volumes of water, the more energy that is possessed by that body of water, to such an extent that it can wash away filth. Imagine you have like a swimming pool of pure water, for example, and there are droplets of urine inside the water. After some time, what happens to those droplets? It goes away. It goes away. How come it goes away? Because water, when it is large amount, it possesses enough energy to dilute those filth. So, and likewise, water that is from top down, just like for example waterfall, and when they hit, for example, this water when it is from what you call it, from the top flowing down, it possesses this energy due to its gravity and due to the energy that water itself possess, that it is able to wash away any filth. So this is a phenomenon, and this is a miracle of the Prophet ﷺ. Meaning, how does the Prophet ﷺ knew this 1,400 years ago, when there is no technology to explain about the properties of water as what nowadays scientists found out. For example, nowadays they do a lot of experiments to study the properties of water, and how does energy moves in water, and how by water for example today, for example, you get electricity, for example, by the flowing of water. Generators, for example, in science we learn, they do these dams with high volumes of water. Then after that they put the generator, and the generator moves. The generator moves by the flowing of water. So this is the energy that water possess. So this is the thing that is able to dilute the filth. So from mutanajis it becomes carries the ruling of musta'mal. So it is pure. So, but there is a condition. Of course, there is a condition. Not all forms of ghusala is pure. So how do we ascertain that it is pure? So we have to go back to the properties, to the three properties. So now, for example, I wash this towel already, correct or not? There is a bit of filth. There is a bit of filth. So I open up the tap, and the water gush in, and this towel becomes clean after some time, correct or not? So the urine is collected, and the water that washes off the urine. So I collect in a pail of water, for example. I put a pail of water below. So now, to ascertain whether this water is mutanajis or not mutanajis, I have to look at the properties in terms of the color, smell, or taste. So for example, I look at the color of the water, it doesn't change. For example, color of water, there is no traces of yellowish urine, no smell, no taste of urine. Then I ascertain that this water is pure, and this is the meaning of al-ghusala. Waqad tahura al-mahal Al-mahal, as what I mentioned earlier, is a place anywhere the filth is, and it becomes any pure. And the properties in your water does not change, then we say it is pure. So this is, and let's go back into the kitab. Say, and the little water that was used to purify is pure when it does not change, and the container has also become pure. Again, and you have to change this. So now, inshallah, we enter into the chapter of tayammum. The chapter of tayammum in English, and it is translated as dry ablution. So here the author mentioned faslun yatayammamul muhdithu wal junubu li faqdil ma'i wal baradi wal marad. For a person who is in a state of ritual impurity, it is permissible for him to perform dry ablution if water is unavailable, cold temperature, or if the person is unwell. So now the author begins by speaking about the reasons that we are able to perform tayammum, and where it becomes permissible for us to perform the dry ablution. And I believe all of us who are following this lesson, at least we understand basically what's the meaning of tayammum. Tayammum is basically we use the dust to wipe our face and our hands. Our face and our hands with the dust. So in pertaining to the permissibility, so these are some of the situations. So number one, he said al muhdithu wal junubu. It is permissible for the muhdith, the one who does not have ablution, or the one who is in state of janaba. He has to bathe the obligatory bath, and there is no water. Lifaqdil ma. There is no water. Water is unavailable. Wal bardi wal marad. And sometimes water is present, but it is too cold. 0 degrees Celsius, for example. If you use the water, it can cause harm to you. It can cause harm to you. So now there is a concession that we can do tayammum instead of using the water, but with the condition there is no heater. Unless if you can heat up the water, then it is not permissible for you to do tayammum. Here we are speaking about we do not have any means to heat up the water. Wal marad, sickness, when the person is sick, and the doctor tells him that you cannot use water. If you use water, your sickness will prolong, and it cause danger into your life, for example, then we say what you call it tayammum, and it becomes permissible for that particular person. Fa in tayaqqana faqdal ma'i tayammama bila talabin. So the author begins by speaking about doing tayammum when the water is not available. When water is not available. So this is the first thing that the author speaks about. So now the situation is you do not have water. That you do not have water. So he said that if you are convinced that the place which you are in does not have any water. For example, you are in the desert and you are convinced 100% because you live there, for example, you know that this area do not have water. This area do not have water. So it is permissible for you to do tayammum without searching for water. Because you are convinced that there is no water. You are convinced that there is no water. But if you are in doubt, for example, you do not know whether there is water or there is no water, then it is wajib for you to search. Likewise, when you have this feeling of possibility, this zon, that there is a high possibility that there is water around you. Now it becomes wajib for you to search for water. So this is where he mentioned after this. He said, wa in tawahhama al-ma'a aw dhannahu aw shakka fihi fattasha fi manzilihi wa inda rufqatihi wa taraddada qadra haddil ghaus. So now it becomes wajib for him to find water, to search in his house, his group. The distance of searching is to be as far as the distance where one's voice can reach Haddul Ghaus. So we have this terminology which our scholars they call it Haddul Ghaus. Haddul Ghaus. And in the meaning of Haddul Ghaus, it is the distance where the voice of a person can reach. So our scholars mention it is about 150 meters. 150 meters along the radius of that area. So if you are in an area 150 meters and you have to search for water, if you have doubt, or to you there is a possibility that you can find water. Maybe some people are keeping it, for example, in their houses or in their vehicles, for example, or there is a well somewhere, because you are not sure of this place, you are new to the area, so there is a possibility and you are in doubt, then wajib for you cannot perform tayammum without searching for water. So you have to search this area of Haddul Ghaus. So this is the first thing that the author mentioned when a person does not possess water. So earlier when we spoke about conviction 100% conviction, yaqeen, that you already know that this area got no water. So if you are convinced, then there is no need for you to search. But if you are in doubt, you have to search as far as Haddul Ghaus, 150 meters radius. وَقَدَّرَ بَعْضُهُمْ بِغَلْوَةِ سَهْمٍ. Some scholars mentioned that as far as the arrow shoots. So it is about 150 meters. فَإِن لَمْ يَجِدْ مَاءً تَيَمَّمَا. So after he searched for water 150 meters, look everywhere, asking people, for example, does anybody has water and so on and so forth, and he cannot find. Then now it is permissible for him to perform tayammum. Tayammum. وَإِن تَيَقَّنَ وُجُودَ الْمَاءِ وَجَبَ طَلَبُهُ فِي حَدِّ الْقُرْبِ. If a person now he is convinced that there is water, yaqeen, based on yaqeen, fi haddil qurb, we have another terminology. Earlier we spoke about Haddul Ghaus. Haddul Ghaus is about 150 meters. Haddul Qurb is about 2.4 kilometers. 2.4 kilometers. If a person has conviction that within this area that he is in, there is water, but it must be based on yaqeen, not based on zan or shak. It is based on 100% in conviction. If he is convinced, for example, there is a sea, maybe 1 kilometer down, there is the seaside, the beach. Then it is wajib for him to take the water, to use any water, and it is not permissible for him to perform tayammum. It is wajib, because why? This is based on conviction and not based on doubt. فَإِنْ كَانَ فَوْقَ حَدِّ الْقُرْبِ تَيَمَّمَا. But if it is more than Haddul Qurb, more than 2.4 kilometers, for example, somebody is saying that the beach in 5 kilometers, for example, now it's not wajib, even though you are convinced and you use a binoculars and you see there is a sea, correct or not? Or you use a drone, you can see there is a ocean. So but it is about 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers. So in this particular situation, it is not wajib for you to go to the place all the way to use the water. What you can do, you can perform tayammum. You can perform tayammum. So now how many terms we have when it comes to distance? We got 3 terms jama'ah. Number 1 Haddul Ghaus, 150 meters, and then number 2 Haddul Qurb, and it's about 2.5 kilometers, and Haddul Bu'd, far distance. Anything that is more than 2.4 is considered to be far. So when it comes to far distance, not compulsory for you to search for water. When it comes to the near distance, Haddul Bu'd, within 2.4, it is wajib for you to get the water if you are convinced there is water, but not when it comes to zan or doubt. But when it comes to Haddul, when it comes to zan and shak, you have to search for water within 150 meters. That is Haddul Ghaus. So we have Haddul Ghaus, Haddul Qurb, and Haddul Bu'd. وَالْأَفْضَلُ تَأْخِيرُ الصَّلَاةِ إِنْ تَيَقَّنَ وُصُولَ الْمَاءِ آخِرَ الْوَقْتِ. So here the author is saying that if there is a possibility that the water can, if there is a conviction of one, if there is any conviction that water will come, but at the end of the time, that for example, Asar and is at 4 o'clock. You know 3:30 someone is coming to bring water. 3:30. It is better for you to wait any for him. It is better for you need to wait any for that person. And you perform ablution as per normal rather than you perform tayammum. But if you does not have the conviction, then it's better to perform tayammum. If you are in doubt, for example, maybe that person is coming, not coming. Maybe he's coming, maybe he's not coming. Then in this situation, it's better for you to do tayammum and pray at the early hour. But if you are convinced that someone is coming to bring water, then it is better for you not to pray first. It's better for you to wait and take ablution and perform your prayers, because at the end of the day, it is better to pray with water rather than to use the dust, because using water is the origin, whereas the dust is based on emergency. Tayammum is based on emergency, and it takes the place of ablution, but it does not. It is a weak form of tahara. It is a weak form of tahara. So inshallah, if there is any question, then you can ask. There is a question here. Assalamu alaikum Ustaz. Wa alaikum salam. Is it correct to say that when you wash a piece of filled clothing under running water, the water that splashes onto you, as the water hits the clothing is pure? Not necessary. What we are saying is, now, if you are washing the clothes and you are putting it under running water, if the filth is still on the cloth, and the water hits the filth and hits you, for example, but the filth is still present at the cloth. Now this is najis. But in the situation where the filth is no more there, then no issue. The second thing we mentioned, then the ghusala that is pure that we are speaking about is the water that is collected after you wash the clothes under the running water. So the water that is collected, if the properties does not change, then only is pure. But if the properties change, in terms of smell, for example, you can smell any filth, then it is najis. So, but when it comes to the water directly hitting you, after washing the clothes, now you have to look at the situation. If the filth is still present at the clothes and it hits you, meaning this is mutanajis. This is mutanajis. This is considered to be mutanajis, because the high possibility is that the filth is still there. The filth is still there and transferred to you and hits you. So, but it's different if the water. So as long as the filth is there, the water now is not considered to be pure. So after the filth has been cleansed, then only we say that the water now is considered to be pure, because we, at the end of the day, we have to look at the properties of water, in terms of their color, in terms of the taste, and in terms of smell. If there are no color, no taste, no smell, and no filth, then we say that the water is considered to be pure water. So if you take the water and you put on your clothes, it doesn't harm, you can perform your prayers with it. والله أعلم بالصواب. ربنا تقبل دعانا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم واختم بالصالحات أعمالنا وآجلنا الله كريم بفضل سبحان ربك بالعزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.